Well, what about all those things we do in secret that nobody sees, that nobody knows about us? You know, we sin every day. We sin every day. And what should I do? Should I wring my hands and, oh my God, it's never going to get better, look at me? So many times our sin manifests itself in pride. Oh, I'm glad I'm not as bad as that guy. You know, you look at Facebook and you see some of these characters and you go, I'm not like him. You're sinning. Or how about selfishness? How many of you have ever been in a situation where you're in a room and somebody asks you, can you help me? What's your response? You know, in me, I get this little list that appears in my mind like Terminator, you know. I can do this, I can do that. Well, the first thing you don't want to say is, what's your problem? The next thing you don't want to say is, what is it now? You're sinning. No, it's not a gross sin like fornication, but it's sinning. It hurts people. So you need to think, what should my response be? Sure, dear, what is it you need? What can I do to help? That's what we need to do. And you know what that's called in the Bible? It's called the flesh lusting against the spirit. And this is our condition. This is what Paul describes now in Galatians chapter 5 about what our situation is. You know these verses. Verse 16. Oh, let's go up to 13. Again, I'm doing it. For brethren, ye have been called under liberty in the dispensation of grace, but use not your liberty for occasion to the flesh, to obey what the flesh wants you to do. Pride, selfishness, hate. Many of you Bear fans hate the Packers. That's not good. I remember my brother once said decades ago when the Bears lost, oh, I hope their plane crashes on the way home. That's not good. That's sin. Hate is a terrible thing, and we do it too many times. I see a post on Facebook of someone I don't like, and they're saying something I don't like, and it's, what do? I give them the angry face. There, that'll show you. They never see it, so what do I think I'm doing? But I do it. I sin. That's what I'm doing. No, it's okay to be angry if we sin not. Be angry and sin not. So Paul goes on to say, this I say, walk in the Spirit, and you won't fulfill the lust of the flesh. When that list appears, which one are you going to pick? In Romans chapter 6, Paul says, yield not your members as instruments of unrighteousness, but as instruments of righteousness. You have a choice every day, every moment, every stimuli that comes your way. You have a choice on how to respond. What's it going to be? Now, I remember the story. I just read this the other day about a man who had two dogs, a white dog and a black dog. And these dogs fought every day. Every day these dogs fought. And so the owner of these dogs would only feed one dog a day. Only feed one dog a day. And coincidentally, the dog he fed won the fight. Won the fight. He fed the white dog. The white dog won. He fed the black dog. The black dog won. Well, isn't that what we're talking about here? You have a choice every day to feed the flesh, the black dog, if you will, or feed the spirit. And we see these things pop up in our heads. Now, just thinking of them is the flesh. We haven't sinned just when they pop in our mind. It's sin when we act upon them. That's when we're sinning. So when you see the list of, oh my goodness, I don't feel like moving, I'm watching this, or I'm doing that, I don't want to have to bother, fight that urge and make a decision. What are you going to feed? You're going to feed the flesh? You're going to feed the spirit. And that's our daily decision. That's our moment-by-moment decision. I don't know about you, but when I'm driving, I don't always respond very well. as my wife can tell you, and I make it known. What's wrong with that guy? What are they thinking? I didn't have to respond that way. I know people are going to be selfish and drive in a way that irritates me. So expect it and be prepared to deal with it by the responses, okay, I'll just deal with it. I know that the Bears are not as good as the Packers. I should expect them that they're probably going to lose. If they win, I'll be thrilled. But if they lose, not a big surprise. It's just the way it is right now. And oh, by the way, you don't go bullying the team that won. So, what do? The flesh lusteth against the spirit. It fights against it. It wants its desires contrary to what the spirit wants. That's what that means. The flesh's desires are contrary to the spirit's desires. And the spirit's desires are contrary to the flesh's desires. And these are contrary to one another so that you can't do the things that you would. But if you be led by the Spirit, number one, you're not under law, you're under grace. Remember that? You're not under law. And then he manifests. These are the works of the flesh. And he lists some pretty bad ones. But you know, there's some things we seem to have determined are not so bad. Okay? Not so bad. And oh, by the way, nobody sees me doing these things. God does. Do you think we've dishonored God in doing some of these things in private? Yes. So we should have a reason to not do them and to pick the Spirit. And that's what God wants us to do. And this is what I want us to understand. What we're doing in the dispensation of grace and how God deals with us. What God's attitude towards sin and what should be our attitude towards sin. How should we deal with sin when we see it? And lastly, for our own selves, how should we respond when we sin?